Thank you, Toby Simon and Synergia Foundation for giving me this opportunity to share my views on a very important topic, that is future of conflict in new domains like space, cyber, and deep sea. And the occasion being Def Expo, I think it will be uh, in place to list out some of the opportunities for our defense industry in these domains. Let me put few things in perspective. Firstly, the conflict is as old as living organisms, that is even older than the mankind. And obviously, the conflict arises due to clash of interests. But the mankind has taken the conflict to newer levels, and a large scale application of force results into war, and humans have changed how the wars are being fought. So, firstly, it's not only due to wars are being fought, not only due to uh, conflict in interest in resources, but also because of difference of opinions. The second thing is the humans have changed the way the wars are being conducted from face-to-face wars of yesteryears to now no contact hybrid warfares in the gray zone. And third is technology is the enabler and which is providing the tools for these changes. As they say, technology is a good gadget but a bad weapon. Uh, Lastly, the humans are very inquisitive by nature, so they want to explore the new areas. Plus, they have a hunger for natural resources. So, this quest and this inquisitiveness takes them to newer domains. Like, for example, from the air, natural extension is going into space, and similarly from the sea surface, the uh, natural tendency is to go subsurface, that is below the sea into deep sea. And technology has provided a newer domain of cyber, which is a virtual domain. So these new domains have ventured and also come into the domain of warfare. Now, if you take space time domain, the humans have gone into space, and obviously uh, for the betterment of the humankind. But nowadays, space domain has touched, I think, space and cyber combined, every aspect of human life. May it be communications, healthcare, agriculture, power sector, recce and surveillance, education, aviation, disaster relief. I mean, the list is endless. And obviously, once you get into that domain, the weaponization of the domain is inevitable. It will take time, but it has to happen. And sure enough, the space domain is being used for warfare in terms of communication, in terms of navigation, in terms of ISR, space-based surveillance, targeting, hypersonic weapons which transit through the space and which are highly maneuverable, platforms also which are coming up which will transit through the medium of space, and obviously to harness all the uh, benefits of the space, humans have put space stations and satellites into the air. And when the warfare or the weaponization takes place, the intention is to neutralize these enemies platforms and satellites by soft kill or by hard kill, that is your missiles, and soft kill by spoofing or by disrupting the communications. So obviously the air power is of yesteryears is becoming into aerospace power. Now coming to the cyber domain, which is a virtual domain basically used for flow of data and ideas. It has changed the way we have live, and once again how we conduct our day-to-day activities. And everything is becoming smart, and smarter things are becoming even more smarter. And if offensive action is taken in the cyber domain, it will be characterized by ambiguity and very high level of deniability. So what is happening is any hostile action in cyber domain gets into a zone of gray zone. That means even when there is no declared war, and there is no war, no peace sort of situation, these activities can go on in cyber world and would be called gray zone operations. And this domain would require monitoring systems, protective systems, sort of a QRT concept, maybe forensic capabilities. Next is the deep sea domain. So far, it is the most difficult domain because difficulty in staying a long time under sea. And the technology is, allowing human beings to go deeper and stay longer under the thing. And there are a whole lot of untapped natural resources. Plus, it gives a strategic space for various activities. There are lines of communication, some submarine cables which are going on the seabed. There are pipelines for transfer of oil and other things, and these can become potential targets in case of hostilities. And the problem is the detection and neutralization of platforms and in the undersea is a bit difficult, but the technology is making it possible. The technologies, a word about technologies which are changing the warfare and how to conduct a warfare, mainly are computing powers, that is quantum technology coupled with space-based internets, ability to handle very large amount of data, and the availability of data at remote places at very high speed. Second is the hypersonics, the platforms which can move 5 times the speed of sound, and they're changing the whole gambit of combat. Then AI, artificial intelligence, nanotechnology, and robotics combined are giving rise to unmanned platforms of various sizes, various capabilities, able to operate not only in the air, surface, sea, subsurface, that means below the sea, and swarms, drones. So all these platforms. Next is, the network environment, and coupled with virtual reality and 3D holography, that is changing the way the warfare is being conducted. And in the manufacturing sector, the 3D printing is making a big mark in the defense industry as well as in the warfare. So coming to the opportunities for the defense industry, I mean, there are endless and very, very vast opportunities. There are a lot of opportunities available in defense production. But I will just name a few of them major ones. One is unmanned platforms, as I said. The world over platforms are being generated from various sizes, and that is another market which is available. In the air domain, the loyal wingman concept is coming up, where you harness the good points of both manned platforms as well as unmanned platforms. And as a corollary to this, or as a thing, anti-drone systems is another area which has got a lot of scope for defense industry. The world over research is going on to create these systems. The next is, next generation platforms, sixth and seventh generation fighters are already being talked about. These new platforms would be packed with computing powers. They would be very, very modern, very, very capable with a lot of systems and weapons, and able to operate in all sort of domains. The next is multi-domain sensors, multi sensors were able to operate in multi-domains, and for reconnaissance and search and reconnaissance and to gather intelligence. And these systems would need definitely artificial intelligence to handle such large amount of data. Then AI has got a lot of scope in the warfare, that is artificial intelligence, especially in the network operations for data collection, analysis, planning, dissemination, monitoring. And these systems need what if option as well as some sort of decision support mechanism, so that the outputs can be viewed properly and some appropriate decisions can be made. Then training is another area where we need to have network solutions and integrated solutions of live, virtual, and simulated, all three, because the training is becoming very costly. Weapons have got a lot of scope in defense industry, and these weapons which can work in various domains and have some or all of these features, that is your standoff, ability to fire from far away, precision, shoot and scoot, fire and forget, ability to engage multiple targets, search and strike, and selective special weapons. So there is a lot of scope there. Then you have a lot of scope in protective infrastructure, protection in terms of from kinetic weapons like hypersonics, and also non-kinetic weapons like CBR and chemical, biological, radiation, nuclear, etc. So we have a lot of scope in this protective infrastructure. And last and most important is systems and equipment related to survivability and in terms of, again, once again, from kinetic weapons like armored platings, etc., and non-kinetic like electronic warfare systems. Uh, so the list is endless. I mean, there is a lot of scope, and we need to get into manufacturing of all these systems and platforms and weapons. And as far as before I finish, I'll just two, three things I want to bring out is, as far as the Indian context is concerned, the approach needs to be, number one, we need to be self-reliant. And this lesson is coming out again and again. Even in the Ukraine war, this has come out that we need to be Atmanirbhar, and so that is very important. Second is that continuous technology infusion is required in the defense forces to modernize them and be capable to handle future challenges. And third is that we need to have a civil military fusion, and what it means is two things. One is that the technology should be processed parallelly, not first for civil use and then it comes into the military, but in parallel for civil as well as military use. And secondly, what it means is that whatever equipment, whatever systems we are making are capable of interoperable, that is in the civil use as well as military use. And before I sign off, last aspect I would like to stress upon is that while we support self-reliance, Atmanirbharta, the minimum level of deterrence required, keeping the geopolitical situation, keeping the number of enemies, keeping the enemy's capability, and keeping in mind the enemy's attitude, the minimum level of deterrence needs to be maintained. While maintaining that, we need to support Atmanirbharta in the longer run. Thank you very much. Jai Hind.